Alrighty then, we're back with more of our dungeon crawl here. So where Deberman and Graham left off, they were about to encounter this ghostly being who's between these large two pillars. Now, this room has been rather mysterious. We encountered a few kobolds, one archer, one was a fighter. There was some treasure, and now we're seeing a theme on this dungeon overall, and that is ghostly apparitions. This is the second one so far. We noticed one right about here that was approaching our heroes and then eventually faded away. So, between episodes from yesterday, I thought of a simple story for this dungeon specifically, not just the bandits that inhabit it, but all of these rooms. So I will reveal it over time. I will keep you guys in suspense. But basically, this ghost right here, this ghostly apparition is a big deal. He is about to speak to our team here. Now, the question is, does the team understand what this ghostly apparition is saying? Now, obviously, our characters are not really fleshed out compared to D&D. They don't have a backstory. They don't have a list of languages they know. That can always be in a future video. But what we'll do, keeping it simple as usual, we will roll intelligence checks for both of them. So as the team kind of cautiously but also curiously observes the ghostly apparition that appears here, we're going to roll an intelligence check for each character because this ghostly apparition is speaking at this moment. Now we need to roll 2d6, and the first will be for Deberman. He has a +1, and so does Graham. That's going to be a 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 for him, and then that's a 5, 6, 7. So both essentially partial success, which means they can understand every other word. The ghost is basically speaking not in riddles, but vaguely, too vaguely. That's why I'd say they're having difficult, not just, you know, missing every other word, but the voice is distorted and it's hard to understand him or her. Um, but basically, what our team picks up is that there are other spirits wandering these halls, and they are all, let's say, very defensive. If these spirits that are wandering the halls feel threatened or intimidated, they will attack. And how do you fight a spirit? How do you fight a ghost apparition? Magic. So, this big spirit here, who is apparently perhaps the main, I'd say, occupant of this dungeon, says that our two teammates, our two party members, are different. They are not regulars here. They appear to be cleansing the dungeon of trespassers. The ghost acknowledges that these two are not welcome. However, the ghost slows down in speaking to the team. He begins to manifest into a physical corporal or physical form, appearing as a knight, something more familiar to our team. So now the team is rightfully more familiar with what they visually can interpret. They walk up closer, not really feeling threatened. Perhaps they're under some kind of spell, though it is not a dangerous spell. It's not something to really cause alarm, but they are right about here. And they're looking at a knight who is kind of bluish tone, see-through, appears very ancient to an extent. The knight says, perhaps this is something more friendlier to you mortals. And both Deberman and Graham agree, saying that you don't appear to be a threat to us. Why do you speak to us, though? And the ghostly entity says that you two, remember, now the ghostly entity, the apparition, is speaking clear, so I won't have the party members roll for this. It is speaking in common, so it's perhaps in the beginning of the conversation it was having trouble manifesting something audible, but now it is working out. So it's progress basically. The ghost apparition explains that if you continue your escapade through our or my home and continue extinguishing, taking out the trespassers here, my friends will not bother you. They will not stop you. As long as you clear out every room of trespassers, whether it be bandits, kobolds, goblins, trolls, orcs, etc., you two are welcome to leave unharmed and unchecked, as long as you clear the rooms. That is essentially a quest for our team. At the start of this short one shot I've been doing, I've had Graham, or sorry, Deberman, be the main player characters, the solo. He was just kind of walking around, taking out bandits left and right. There was really no purpose to this adventure. It was just kind of exploration. But when I first introduced the ghost at this crosshair here, I thought of this little tale, this little adventure quest, thinking that the team will agree, as they don't really have an option. If they were to disagree, this ghost would attack. This ghost would engulf them with in flames. Something. This ghost is insanely powerful. This being is way above their league, their pay grade, like level 10. But he is giving these two mortals, these two really level one non-threatening mortals, an option to live, but also do the dirty work. The I'd say the thief arrogantly says, well, if you are so, like, we accept your very gracious offer, but if I might add or ask, you appear to be very powerful in your own right. This is your home. Why don't your, uh, why don't you or your quote unquote friends take up the rest of the trash? So this is a plot hole I was thinking about, and the ghostly apparition says, that is a good question. There appears to be a very powerful spellcaster that is hiding in one of the rooms to the north. He has imbued many of the members that you have taken out already with some unique spell that does not allow them to be attacked or physically harmed by me or my friends. This is why I rather have this is why I would have you two as my avatars, taking them out using your physical weapons. Does this sound like a deal? And of course, both members obviously look to each other and nod. This is something we have to do. We don't have a choice, or we'll become goo. We will die in the lava behind us. So the ghostly apparition fades away, and then there's a bright flash of light. The members are no longer in this room. They appear back in the hallway here, and this door is no longer here. So I'm going to put X here. This room is no longer reachable. It is out of play. So they look back. They appear like they teleport back into this hallway, there's still this door here, and they're looking around, panicking like what just happened. They look back and they become familiar with their surroundings. They see the hallway that they were previously in. They look back and the door is the secret passage is just a solid brick wall. There's no hole in the middle on the bottom to, prop it up. I'm thinking that this door here had some kind of like makeshift access point for a weapon to uh pull this door. Like it was broken into, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. That this room was broken into by the prior occupants, the kobolds. That's why our team was able to find that break point and get in themselves. But now it's not there. The door's been rightfully fixed. Okay, so we're back, and the team talk amongst themselves, explaining that, well, Deberman says, so we won't be having any trouble with the ghost that you saw earlier. Now we just got to take out these other bandits, whoever these people are. So again, we don't know too much about the bandits, and I'm thinking that they discovered this place, a few weeks ago, and have set up shop and are continuing their exploration, digging through. And then there's that, aforementioned spellcaster who is somewhere, and I'm thinking that this spellcaster is going to be in a certain room I'm looking at right now, but I will not tell you. Don't want to spoil it just yet. Okay, so they unsheath their weapons and they're going to now approach this door. There is no voices anymore. They don't hear anything because it's been some time since the little conversation that happened here. Um, but they remember the spirit mentioned that the spellcaster is to the north somewhere, to basically behind them from when they're looking south. So our team has general uh, a general awareness of direction, and I will say that's probably going to be Deverman. He is he's familiar with perhaps being an adventurer, and Graham is just along for the ride at this point. So they are going to approach this door cautiously. The door is still locked. I'm not going to roll for that, and they're going to try and put their Demerman's going to put his ear against the door, make sure there's no one behind it. Let's roll to see if he's able to hear anything. This will be wisdom. No bonus, but it is awareness, which is one of our skills, so that would be the top two of the three. And luckily, that did help. That's going to be a 5, 6, 7. So he does hear voices, or he hears not a not several voices. He hears one like character, someone's breathing heavily, like just one uh voice of someone breathing heavily. So there is someone in this room, and he can hear like heavy breathing for some reason. So they're going to Deberman says, I hear breathing. I think. Like he's just trying to put his ear through the door or on against the door. Graham says maybe it's someone does it sound like a like a big dude, basically. And Deberman, because it's a partial success, it's not a complete success. He's like he can't tell. He just hears heavy breathing, and then he hears a weapon, like a sword, some kind of sharp weapon being kind of like how how chefs kind of cut together, they they sharpen them. That's basically what he hears. He's like, I hear weapons sharpening. So he says, I think there's someone behind this door with obviously a large weapon or two. So the fighter, Graham's right, he says, let's break in. So they're going to take a few steps back, look to the left. If there's no one here. There's no ghost, and they're going to do a rush at the door and jump right through, preparing for what most likely will be an encounter. Because of this, I will give an advantage and a strength of actually 3, because this is a combined action, both with Deverman and Graham. Graham has a 2 strength. Deverman has a 1 strength. That's 3. So plus 3 along with advantage. And look at that. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. That is a standard success. They bolt, they rush and break through the door, they crash through the door, and they're standing here now. And what they see is one massive orc. This guy is huge. He's a barbarian, and he's going to have a high, let's see, he's going to have a high difficulty of 6. Now, um, these dice here, I use them on occasion, not too often. I've used them quite often in the past, I think with Misfortune or other games where I would have tabletop, a map, and many dice representing one of the characters. I'm going to use this, combining it with the armor and HP. So I do this kind of in fluctuation with the current weapons my characters have equipped or on hand. 6 is the armor and the HP. But in this round, when the character gets hurt, the HP will go down by the difference, and that is now the new armor. So the more damage they take, the more the armor will degrade. So the orc is going to be just a simple flat 6 and also a d6 in damage. Basically, the d6 encompasses practically everything: the armor, HP, hit dice, and HP, and the weapon damage die. Okay, so this is it. The orc is there. He looks surprised. He has these two sharp weapons in his hand, so he has two weapons, and they're kind of like rapiers in a way. He has a full set of armor, which explains the 6, and he growls and then he prepares to attack. So our team is also prepared. They rushed in, surprising him. So I'm going to give our team an advantage here because they surprised the orc. But the orc again is a monument compared to our team. So I'm going to see what will be done first. Who will attack on our side first? We get the first move on this one. I'm going to say Graham is going to try to use his short sword. Or you know what? Yes, this will be a uh, strength roll, just using the short sword. So we're going to roll with advantage because it's going to be athletic. And unfortunately, well, the 2, that's going to be 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a partial, barely a partial. So it's going to be half damage if he's able to get in damage, that is. It has to roll higher, at least a 7. And he has a d8 plus 1, so it's possible. Odds are against him, so we're going to get our d8 here. Half damage. Ooh, 8. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Because it's half damage would be 4, which is not a hit. However, plus 1 is 9. So I'm going to cut that in half from the 6 to 9. So that'll be 1 damage. It, I'd say if I'm thinking from 6 to 8 or 6 to 9, 1.5 would be more accurate, but I'm going to do 1 damage. So he does get a hit on the orc. The orc is not 5. The orc, Deberman, is going to try to run around because he's a thief and from behind he gets advantage. He has a backstab, which is plus 3 damage. He's going to try, this will be not stealth and no advantage really, just the bonus plus 3 on backstab. So while the orc is getting attacked by Graham, Deberman is going to circle around and attempt to attack the orc. So plus 1 on the strength roll. That is a very good hit. Question is, does a damage dice hit? So that's a 10, which is, or sorry, 9 plus 1, that's a 10. So his weapon of choice is a standard short sword, D8. We have to roll for damage. He has to roll a 5 or higher. I'm sorry, a 6 or higher. The armor is 5. Let's see what happens. So I'm thinking of just roll this. That's gonna be a complete failure. So on the plus 3 is 4. That's still not good enough. So it does nothing. The short sword hits the back of his shield, and the orc turns around. Let me write this down. Just it's an orc. Just kind of for my records. There we go. He turns around and takes a swing at. Um, oops. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. There we go. He takes a swing at Deberman. Deberman is going to try to escape or dodge. This will be just a 2D roll, and uh, Let's do a +1 on dexterity. Does he get hit? +1. Oh, yep, yes, that's a 5. He gets hit. Okay, so he's going to take a d6 damage, which is going to be this one. Oh, you know what? Let me use the d. I have a black d6 here for that. 1. Okay, he takes, which he has armor 4, so that's okay. You know what? I realized a problem here. I've made a mistake. This guy should be a d8 because Graham has an armor of 6, which is outrageously high, and that was because of my doing. So I'm going to bump up the damage die of our friend here to a d8 instead. Make a note of this here. The orc will have a d8, but obviously the health and the armor are still tied as the same. So let's roll for d8. That's going to be 1. Okay, so nothing's changed. Luckily, um, Deberman is able to just simply take the blow with his armor. The orc appears distracted. Is perhaps I'm thinking that we're going to roll for Graham's going to strike back because now the orc turned around and is dealing with Deverman. Graham is going to take his Ring of Fire, which is going to be the last time he can use it, but he will roll. This will be intelligence. So does it work for him under all this pressure? And that's going to be a partial 7, 8. So the fire does fire, the fire does work, but he has to roll a 6, or that's it. So if he rolls a 6, it only does 1 damage. That's going to be the setback. But he has to roll a 6, and that's going to be nothing. The fire just hits the orc's armor. Orc laughs, turns around, and he takes one of his weapons and swipes at Graham. Graham is going to try to dodge with dexterity. Athletics too is his skill and survival, so that's advantage, but no bonus modifier. That's going to be a 5, 6, 7 plus no bonus, so it's a partial damage. He takes a minor hit, and that hit will be actually he takes a hit. Let's say he takes a roll d8 and 7. He takes 1 damage. So, but the I should have made this guy tougher actually. Um, However, the partial is going to be Deberman attempting to now attack with his short sword. So he's going to try once more. This will be strength. I will use stealth because the orc is distracted by Graham. This is Deberman. Where is the d6 I just had in my hand? There it is. Okay, so strength +1. That's going to be a 7. All right, so partials are always kind of concerning here. Well, we'll roll a d8, but it's a 7. Let's see how we can make this. Okay, 4 is no good. Half damage even considered it's 2. So the orc grabs attempts to grab Deverman because Deverman is becoming kind of a nuisance to the orc. The orc tries to step and grab, so we have a chance to dodge here. So we're going to trip with dexterity, +1 on the roll here. Okay, good. That's a 10, the +1. So Deverman dodges. The Ring of Fire, I need to also take that off the sheet here. We are done with that. The ring kind of cracks and he takes it off and throws it off to the side. Though he has a scroll. So Graham remembers he has a scroll. He takes the scroll out. He reads the enchantment, and it's going to require an intelligence roll. Okay, there's a +1 on the roll here. That is magnificent. That's an unnatural 12. The scroll of icy touch. So his hands turn like a solid white, and he jumps and touches the back of the orc's armor. The orc's armor shatters. His chest plate shatters, and that will lower him down to 4. So that worked, but it was just the armor. It did not damage him. It Well, it did damage him, I guess, because it's tied to armor. It damaged him by one. And now the scroll the scroll itself catches fire, and he also tosses that to a side. He kind of curses under his breath. He says, "Damn magic." So the orc screams because it's cold. It caught him off guard. He shouts. He throws his weapons aside and he takes his warhammer out. Maybe perhaps his warhammer was um, on it was through his belt or something, or on his side, or on his back, wherever it was. He had a warhammer now, and that's gonna be a D10. So I'm gonna keep that in mind now. So I'm up in the difficulty here. They reached the next pinnacle of the orc's efforts. And the D10 will be his weapon of choice, which I will keep this off the side just for reference. Okay, so the orc is going to attempt and swing his warhammer at Graham because Graham is the one who pissed him off, ruining his armor, freezing it, and destroying it. So this will be survival, so it'll be an advantage. Okay, we're rolling. There's no dexterity though. He's gonna try to dodge. Okay, so that's gonna be a 10, which is good. He's able to dodge the swing of the large warhammer, and suddenly, um, Deberman will use his short sword and attempt to catch the orc off guard, which he is. Orc is raging and using the warhammer. This will bring us a +1 on strength and advantage with his short sword. So here we go. From behind, +3 damage if it hits. That's going to be 7, and then +1, 8. So we have to roll for damage, but it's partial. So this will be the D8 +3, however, half damage. Okay, interesting. So 6, 7, 8, half of that's 4. Unfortunately, it hits the armor and does not damage him. So the orc, once again, turns around. He's kind of a mindless buffoon. He's not very smart. He's going to try to swing the warhammer at Deberman, and Deberman's going to try to dodge. So he has +1 dexterity. Here we go. Oh wow, good rolls for Deberman today. That's gonna be a 9 +1 is 10. He's able to dodge. Okay, so now Graham is gonna try his hand and use his short sword, which will be +2 strength. That's gonna be 6, 7, 8. So it'll be half damage. The D8 +1 on this roll. Come on, let's take care of this guy. All right, 8. Oh, unfortunately, that's 4. So again, his armor blocks it. So the orc is getting really impatient. He's gonna attempt and rush Graham. Graham is cornered. I'd say perhaps gonna rush him right here. So I'm gonna try to rush him, and this will be a difficult moment. However, while he rushes him, Deberman is going to try and jump onto the orc, use his dagger, and stab him in the neck. So Deberman is going to use a. This will be an advantage because he's from behind. And he's going to try. I'm sorry, he'll use a short sword. So let's roll for dexterity on this one. So it'll be 5, 6, 7, 8, plus one more, 9. So that is a partial again, which means he does manage to jump onto. This is for the action. This is not for the actual damage or the attack roll. He does jump onto the orc, and he's probably half the orc size. They both are. The orc is huge, 8 feet. His head is barely touching the ceiling. And watch out for that ceiling fan. And so the orc starts to panic. He tries to grab. His arms are too big. He can't reach for. He's trying to grab. Then maybe he grabs the sword. Will be the partial success roll. He grabs the sword of Graham or Deberman and pulls out of his hands. So he's going to temporarily lose the short sword, and he throws it aside. But however, this we will now roll for advantage with the dagger. So he'll try to use it. Devin will quickly pull out his dagger and try to stab him in the neck. And guess what? That's going to hit because it's plus one strength. That's 9, 10. That is going to be, this is straight damage because there is an opening in his armor between the neck and the chest plate, between the helmet and the chest plate. So what we're going to do is Karen rules and straight damage roll. This will be a d6. 1. Okay, it does hurt him, but it's down to 3 now. Okay, so he's down to 3. He takes a stab in the neck. He screams. He takes Deberman and throws him against the wall. Deberman will take d4 damage for this. No roll, unfortunately, for Deberman. Take d3 or 3 damage. He's down to 7 now out of out of 10, and he gets thrown against the wall. Graham, though, out of all that, is going to attempt and retaliate and attack with his. I don't really think this will be an advantage, so we're just roll plus 2 strength with his short sword. Just a basic attack. That's 6, 7, 8, 9. That's partial, so it will be half damage. However, his armor's down to 3, so it might have a chance here. This will be a d8 plus 1 for his skill. That's a 4. Half that is 2. Unfortunately, that's not enough. So his sword hits him on the on the arm. The orc uh, basically swings his arm and hits Graham also against the wall, taking d4 damage. So that he is getting pissed and he's resulting to physical violence. 1 damage. Okay, so he's using brute strength now instead of his weapons. The orc screams, kind of like a battle cry, and he's going to rush Graham. And he's going to try to like stomp him against the wall. Graham has to dodge here, but the disadvantage because he's been hit is on the floor. So 2 of the lowest. I will not use a skill for survival, and there's no bonus for dexterity. So 2, unfortunately, like I said, this will be a huge hit. This is gonna be straight d6 damage. No armor considered. It's a full stomp. 1. Okay, he got lucky. Maybe he steps on his hand or something. So he got lucky there. Very, very lucky. You know what? A failed roll. I'm gonna do 2 times 2 damage. So 2. He's on 2 right now. Okay, so 2 damage. I'm sorry. He's down to. Oh, I forgot. He's down to 7. I think I messed up on the damage here. So he's down to 7. Okay, I erased it. I wrote down 2. I was supposed to write his current health, not the damage he took. That's my mistake. And I know you guys can clearly see that I need to probably make new prints because these are getting worn out. Okay, so with that little interaction happening between the orc stomping on Graham's, I don't know, shoulder or hand, Deberman's going to try to attack using his, let's use the longbow. Maybe he'll make a shot on his back. So he'll use his longbow because he's at a distance. He's right here. So we'll roll for longbow. That would be dexterity and advantage because the orc is distracted. So plus 1 on this advantage, and that's no bueno. Okay, so that's 5 total with the bonus. That's no good. The bow fires and bounces off his helmet. The orc turns around, scuffs, and then just rushes Deverman. However, this is Deverman's chance to use the repel scroll that he has in his hand at the moment, or in his pocket. He pulls a scroll out, and he's panicking. He's going to try to use it. So this will be no advantage here. Plus 1 intelligence. The scroll. Ooh, okay, interesting. 9, 10 with the bonus 1 intelligence. The scroll works, pushes the orc back, and the orc is now in the corner and slams against the wall, causing 1 damage. So he's at 2 now. The orc scuffs. He tries to stand up. That spell was quite powerful. It actually worked out pretty well. So I'm going to take that off his. The scroll then basically disappears. It fades away out of reality. That's all magic works in my game here. So the orc attempts to stand up. He's kneeling. He's a little hurt. 2 is not that good. Graham is going to attempt and rush um, the orc while he's on the ground, much like how he was before. And this will be athletics and survival together. So these are advantage plus 2 strength on the short sword. Hopefully this is the finisher. That's a 9, which is partial damage, half damage, at least to my discretion. That's a 7, 8. Oh no, 9, 10. I'm sorry, plus 2 strength. 9, 10. That is a standard hit. So we just have to roll our damage die and consider armor too. So D8 plus 1. Ooh, interesting. He's dead. Okay, that's 7. He thrusts, he jumps, and then just pure rage. Graham thrusts the sword right into the orc's chest, and the orc screams, coughs out blood, and he is dead. DED dead. So he defeats the orc, and that is a solid 200 XP for our friend. And I will give 100 XP for Deberman. So the the death of the orc opened up both of these doors, strangely enough. Now some paths have been revealed. So these doors are now open. This door is open, this door is open. So killing of the orc has killed him. Now let's loot the orc. I have table fables here to help us with that as items I have been having trouble thinking of on the spot. So we're going to roll for loot type, which is going to be D100 and our percentile. So let's roll. That's going to be 83. He has apparel. Okay. So I'll turn to apparel. All right. Apparel will be nothing of interest for our characters. They're going to ignore that. And there will be one more roll for loot type. 93. Ooh, coins. Okay. Coins will be a D12. And it will be 4 silver coins. So D10. I'm going to say it's just gold. I strictly just use gold in my games. It'll be a D10 gold. So not a lot. 3 gold pieces. Hooray. Not exactly the most wealthy orc on this game in this game. So 3 gold pieces will just go to I'll just say Deberman gets 3 gold pieces. He just pockets it 6, 7, 8. So he's at 218 now. That's 3 XP. Okay. So there you go. Both characters have completed this. That's going to be the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. They defeated an orc, which was a pretty good fight actually. Some kind of some retcon or how do you say change of the procedure here with the combat system, which is again always improv because World of Dungeons doesn't have a combat system, which is fine. You're kind of left to interpret it. But I do kind of miss the Karen combat system. We're just straight damage. There's no attack rolls. You just roll damage and use armor as considered. But this is where our character currently sits. I forgot to add up the XP from the last session, so I'm going to do that after I finish recording. So there you go. And next time, we're going to attempt to explore these random rooms that opened up. And I'm thinking this room right here, it looks pretty significant if you ask me. All right. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.